All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video as we recap their loss to the Miami Dolphins. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. Thanks to Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And as you can see right here, we are brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. They're a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. It's awesome. Click the link below and go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you, whether you shop online or visiting in-store at any of Mancini's fantastic locations. Use the code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off, KRUEG10, and you'll get 10% off. That's KRUEG10 to get 10% off in any of the Mancini stores or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Niners and the Dolphins. And it was an ugly game today. The Dolphins got the win over the 49ers. 49ers lose again, and they just continue their free fall. And the season from hell continued for the Niners. 49ers trailed early. It was 3-0 Dolphins at the end of the first quarter. It was 13-10 Dolphins at halftime. It was 19-10 Dolphins going to the fourth quarter, and then the Dolphins would ultimately win this thing 29-17. You know, I talked in the pregame about really it was just going to be about who ran the ball. You know, both teams, were going to come out and try to run the football. Tua Tagovailoa can't shoulder the entire load on his back, and Brock Purdy can't shoulder the entire load on his back. You got to have a running game. You got to have a combination of a run game and some kind of a passing game, some balance. And the Niners didn't have any offensive balance. 40 passes, 18 runs. Miami had 34 passes and 30 runs. They maintained offensive balance. Devin Achane was the star. I mean, he had 70 yards receiving on 6 receptions. He carried 17 times for 7-1 a carry, 120 yards and a touchdown. He had a 50-yard run in the second half of this game. Conversely, the Niners couldn't run at all. Patrick Taylor had 8 carries for 24 yards. 3 yards a carry, and just didn't really do much in this game. The 49ers as a team only averaged 4.5 a carry, but that was aided by Purdy, who had 26 yards on four rushes. So, in reality, their main running back, Patrick Taylor, who got the majority of the carries, only ran for 3 yards a pop. So they couldn't run it. And the team that ran the ball was going to win this game. And the Dolphins were that team, and they won the game. George Kittle had a nice day. He was targeted 9 times. He caught 8 of those balls for 106 yards. Debo had a fantastic game. 5 carries for 25 yards, his best rushing day in a while. He also caught 7 of the 9 targets that came his way for 96 yards and a touchdown. And he played with a ton of fire. He played with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion. I thought he looked really, really good. So Kittle looked good. Debo looked good. Ricky Pearsall caught 4 balls for 37 yards, but he had 2 really costly penalties. And we saw him on the sideline getting his ass chewed by Leonard Hankerson for not getting lined up on the line of scrimmage right and having back-to-back penalties on one drive that really derailed the drive. So, or at least didn't help the drive. Let's just say that. Didn't derail the drive. But needless to say, Pearsall, as a first-round draft choice, needs to do more. He was targeted only 4 times. He caught all 4 balls for 37 yards. He had a 21-yard grab, so it wasn't like he did nothing. But they need him to do more, and they can't have those big mistakes on penalties. The penalties were a major part of this game, and this has been a theme for the 49ers. Losing football usually includes turnovers and penalties, and the Niners were -1 on the turnover margin, and they had 11 penalties for 90 yards. So, I mean, it's funny. I did a video, or I did a promo for our KNBR Niners Nightly show at the beginning of the year. And I'm looking at the stats, and I'm like, if Brock Purdy turns it over, the Niners lose. If he fumbles and loses the fumble, the Niners tend to lose. If he throws an interception, the Niners tend to lose. But when he doesn't turn it over, when he doesn't individually fumble, when he himself doesn't throw an interception, the Niners win. And I thought, well, we're going to have to change this in the rotator because, this can't possibly continue for more than a week or two. That was cut at the beginning of the year. It's still true to this minute. When Brock Purdy turns it over, the Niners lose. When Brock Purdy doesn't turn it over, the Niners win. Brock Purdy turned it over today, and Tua did not, and the Niners lost. And the 11 penalties didn't help. The lack of a running game didn't help. The 49ers have not been able to get Jacob Cowing involved at all. He's kind of a non-factor. And despite Kittle having a good day and Jennings playing well and Debo having his probably best game of the year, they couldn't win the game. And they're not good at situational football. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I mean, we could go through each and every aspect of this game and just go through it with a fine-tooth comb. I don't know if that it's necessary, but the Niners got the ball to start the game, and they went 3 and out. And then Miami's first possession, Jordan Elliott had a huge TFL on 2nd and 7, and they were forced to punt. So the Niners got it back, and on their second drive, the penalty bug started to bite them. There was a penalty on a hold on Banks on a Debo run that negated that. Then there was a false start on Kittle that led to a 2nd and 17, and the Niners couldn't overcome it. Jordan Brooks got a blitz sack of Purdy on 2nd and 17 to set up 3rd and 23, and eventually the Niners had to punt. So they went 3 and out on the first drive. They had penalties that really derailed their second drive. Miami's second drive resulted in a 44-yard Jason Sanders field goal. The defense held as far as, didn't let the Dolphins in the end zone a lot. They forced a bunch of Sanders field goals, but they couldn't get it done. Other than that, the Niners on their third possession, they moved the ball down the field. Patrick Taylor had a run for a first down on 4th and 1 that kept the drive alive. And then you had a 3rd and 10 play from the 35-yard line. Purdy went to Debo for 17 yards. So that brought the ball inside the 20-yard line. It was 1st and 10 on the 18-yard line. Taylor had a run for 9 yards on first and 10 from the 18. So that set up 1st and goal from the 9. And then Purdy ultimately would find Debo, who had an incredible second effort and got in the end zone. And the Niners had a 7-3 lead. So that was second quarter, or late first quarter. Niners with a 7-3 lead. I guess that was the beginning of the second quarter. And then the defense started to cave a little bit as the Dolphins scored on their next couple of drives. Sanders scored on a 38-yard field goal on the next drive. The 49ers' fourth possession, once again, derailed by penalties, false start on 3rd and 9, and, even a penalty on the punt. So the 49ers then punted the ball back to Miami, and Miami would drive down the field from their 32. And on 3rd and goal from the 3, Tua found Tyreek Hill against Mooney Ward, just a perfect dime. And so the 7-6 49er lead became a 13-7, Dolphins lead. 49ers would get the ball back for their 5th possession, their final possession of the first half. And they drove it from their 30 down the field, 2nd and 7. You had Purdy throwing a slant on 2nd and 7 to Pearsall. And the Niners looked like they were going in for the touchdown. Things were looking good. 1st and goal from the 7, and Debo runs a little misdirection run. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 4. And this is where this thing bogged down. The Niners can't run the ball in the low red zone. When you have 2nd and goal from the 4, you run the ball 3 times and you get a touchdown. That's what most teams do. The Niners had to pass on 2nd and goal. Brock's running for his life, throws it away. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 4. His passes gets tipped. Brendel got absolutely destroyed by the lineman he was blocking right into the backfield, caused all kinds of disruption on the play. Purdy gets his ball tipped on a ball that was going to Kittle. So now it's 4th and goal. And instead of getting the touchdown to go up, it was at that point, it's 13-7. You go up 14-13 at halftime with the touchdown. No, they kicked the Jake Moody 21-yard field goal, and they're still trailing 21-10, or 13-10, I should say, at halftime. They should have had a 1-point lead. Instead, they're down 13-10. So, very disappointing blown opportunities. Then the third quarter starts. Dolphins drive down the field. Sanders kicks a 54-yard field goal, 8-play drive to make it 16-10. Now the Niners in their first possession of the third quarter, and this is where things start getting really sloppy. The first play was Purdy to Debo for 11 yards, and it looked like the drive was going to be great. But Jalen Moore, the left tackle, got hurt on the drive, and all of a sudden the Niners started to break down. On 1st and 10 from the 20, Patrick Taylor ran for 2 yards, but it's a penalty on Pearsall for an illegal formation, lined up wrong. Then the drive continues. It's third down from the 18. Purdy goes to Debo for 16-yard line or for 16-yard gain down to the 2, but penalty on the Niners. Once again, Pearsall, illegal formation. So instead of down 16-10 on the doorstep to making it 17-16, the 49ers are pushed back to the 28-yard line, and they got to bring Jake Moody in for a 41-yard field goal, and he fucking misses it. Wide left. And Shanahan at that point threw the iPad down, the tablet, whoever makes the tablet. They need a new one, a clean up on Niners sideline because Shanahan hurled that thing into the ground. At that point, that was just it right there. 2 Pearsall penalties and Jake Moody misses a field goal. I mean, right then you're just like, wow, that's unbelievable. So now it's late third quarter, Dolphins' 7th possession. They drive the ball 9 plays, 53 yards. They get inside the red zone. Niners defense held. Tua went to Tyreek Hill against Renardo Green, and it went right through Hill's hands. Would have been a touchdown. Instead, he drops it because Hill didn't have a great day. So they bring on Sanders. He kicks a 33-yard field goal, and they go up 19-10. But there's still, 1:08 left in the third quarter, all kinds of time. Niners get the ball, 7th possession, end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. They drive the ball down the field, and Purdy on 2nd and goal from the 2 found Eric Saubert for a 2-yard touchdown, 9-yard play in a little bit over 4 minutes. And Saubert gets his 3rd career touchdown. And it's 19-17 Dolphins. Okay, so then very next play, Tua almost throws an interception to Flanagan Fowles, but he drops it. And then on 2nd and 10, Tua goes to Jonnu Smith, and there's a penalty on Jordan Elliott for late hit on Jonnu Smith, which I thought was really ticky-tack considering talking about a 320-pound athlete in Jordan Elliott. I thought that was really ticky-tack. So instead of being, 2nd and 10, instead of being a 3rd and 10 type situation, now it's, 1st and 10. They're right around midfield, and eventually they were forced to punt. Tua went to Craycraft against Mooney Ward on 3rd and 7 from the 50. It was incomplete, and so they're forced to punt. So now the Niners get the ball back, their 8th possession, on their own 10-yard line, and they make a first down onto a 20-yard pass play to Juszczyk. Debo with a 2-yard run. Purdy to Debo for 4 yards, sets up 3rd and 4, and they try to run Taylor on 3rd and 4, or Purdy goes to Taylor on 3rd and 4 for 1 yard, and they get to 4th and 3 from their 36, and they have to punt. 6:45 left in the fourth quarter at this point when they punt. And by the way, there's an illegal substitution on special teams. Sorry, Brian Schneider, but you got to go. I mean, you can't have more and more mistakes on special teams, and that's all Schneider's special teams unit has produced all years. More and more mistakes of every kind. So the 49ers, look like they're going to get something going. Instead, they can't run the ball. They can't convert on 3rd and 4. They can't stay on the field offensively. They give the ball back to Miami with 6:45 left in the fourth quarter. Already at this point down 19-17. So they're down 2, and the Dolphins are trying to run out the clock. And on the first play of the drive, penalty on Lenore for roughing on, I guess, on the sideline. And then A-Chain is a 6-yard run, and Kalia Davis lines up offsides. Biggest drive of the year. You're on the goddamn football and you line up offsides. I mean, my goodness. I mean, seriously, that was the 49ers' 11th penalty. You're on the ball. It's sitting right next to you, and you lined up offsides. So I don't know what, people are going to blame Brock Purdy. People are going to blame Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy didn't make Kalia Davis line up offsides. All right. That's for sure. Kyle Shanahan didn't make those guys line up offsides. Absolutely horrible. So the drive continues. And on 3rd and 3 from the 19, Mostert gets stuffed. Great play by Flanagan, fouls. Defense holds. Sanders comes on. He kicks a 48-yard field goal. 22-17, 7 plays, 41-yard drive in 4.5 minutes. Now there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and the Niners need a touchdown. They're down 22-17. Purdy goes to Jennings for 17 on first down, and then Purdy on 1st and 10 from the 47. Gets knocked by Calais Campbell and picked off, and that was pretty much the ball game. A-Chain would have a 50-yard touchdown run after that to make it 29-17, and that's how it ended, 29-17. I said it in the pregame. Whoever's going to run the ball better was going to win this game. Miami outrushed the Niners 167-81. They won the game. Purdy did some good things in this game, but that interception late was crushing. Deebo Samuel played his best game of the year by far, 5 for 25 on the ground, 7 catches for 96 yards and the touchdown as a receiver. Ricky Pearsall, 4 catches for 37 yards. He did some good things, but those penalties were crushing, and Leonard Hankerson chewed his ass out on the sideline for it. Jake Moody missed another field goal. He's probably got to go. The Niners D-line had no sacks second week in a row. Can't have no sacks. 49er defense, again, was atrocious in the fourth quarter. They're minus 53 point differential in the fourth quarter. That is dead fucking last in the NFL. And then too much A-Chain. 121 yards on 17 carries, 7-1 a carry, 6 catches for 70 yards. A-Chain had, almost 200 yards, and A-Chan, and that was the difference. Dolphins win. So what happened in this game? Brock Purdy threw a bad pick with the game on the line at the very end. The Niner offensive line got whipped, couldn't run the ball, couldn't pass protect, gave up 3 sacks of Purdy and 6 hits. Niner D-line couldn't hit Tua, despite the fact they have subpar offensive tackles, and Bosa played, couldn't get any pressure at all on Tua, no sacks. Wild card factor was Jonnu Smith, couldn't cover him. He was targeted 6 times, he caught 6 balls. Couldn't stop A-Chain to save their life. Kittle had a big game. Deebo was great, but not enough offensively, 17 points. It's just, that's really it. 49ers, no sacks, 1 quarterback hit. Dolphins had 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. So not enough defensively. Cater, Kohu, or whatever, had the big interception at the end. Brock Purdy had the game in his hands at the end. It was all there for him to be the hero. It was set up for him to be the hero and make a big statement of how he deserves monster money. And instead, he threw an interception, and the Niners fall to 6-9. If you were like me and you care about the draft, and all you really wanted to see in this game was the Niners play hard and lose, then you walk away from a 29-17 game and you're like, all right, they got a higher draft pick, and they played hard, and so be it. It's not their year. But man, when you look closer and you go, man, what do you pay Brock Purdy if he keeps playing this way? What can you expect to get next year out of Ayuk and CMC and Deebo? I'm not really sure. It's beyond time to bolster the 49ers on the line of scrimmage. Dre Greenlaw went out early in this game. What's his health situation going into a very crucial offseason where he's looking for an extension? So the special teams continues to be a problem. Missed kick, key penalties, bad, just bad. And just for accountability purposes, somebody's going to have to probably pay for that. That one's unfortunate. So there you go. A full recap. It wasn't good. It was not good. Kittle looked great. George Kittle's having a great year. Debo fired a huge effort. JJ made some big plays. Brock made some nice plays. But Brock had the turnover when it mattered. Special teams let him down again. The defense in the fourth quarter couldn't stop anybody. And it just wasn't good enough. Just good enough to lose. No pressure on Tua. You put pressure on Tua. You know, you saw last week. You put pressure on Tua like the Texans did. 4 turnovers, 3 picks, and a fumble. You put no pressure on him, and he sat back there and just did whatever he wanted in this game. No problem, right? No sacks, no interceptions, no fumbles. It's funny how that works. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.